Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome to the Recovery Capital Podcast. My name is Johanna Dolan. I'm a person in long-term recovery. I'm also a lot of other things, which we're going to talk about in a little bit. But before we get started, let me go ahead and share with you what Recovery Capital is. So Recovery Capital is the strength, the tools, the resources that we gather that help us to obtain, maintain, and sustain long-term recovery, and maybe even get started on the journey in the first place. Amy, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yes, my name is Amy DiPietro. I'm a person in long-term recovery, and like Joanna said, I'm a lot of other things too. And that is actually why we are doing this initial Get to Know You podcast, right? So Joanna touched on what Recovery Capital is all about, and while it's a subject matter near and dear to her heart, and is definitely becoming one near and dear to mine, we are one of a gazillion different people that woke up one day and was like, dude, let's do a podcast. And so we were how do we make this relatable? How do we reach the people that we want to reach? And we started working backwards. What is the purpose? What's our goal? What's our motivation? And so I think for us, the best way to launch out onto this platform is really to share with you kind of who we are and why we decided that this was important to us, and hopefully something that can be used as a resource in and around the recovery community. So we're going to go through an interview / conversation type thing, just between me and Joanna. We've actually not really known each other. We met in COVID. We met virtually in COVID during a class that Joanna was instructing. I'm the student, okay? And so we have never, ever met in person, and yet Joanna probably knows more about me than a lot of people do because, we've talked about a lot of shit on this show. We have actually already done some cool interviews and some content we're super excited to share with you guys, and way more to come. But we really wanted to start with at the beginning with us. So we're going to jump into it and kind of go through the who, what, when, where, why. So let's start out with the who.
Yo.
You down for the who? Okay.
Down for the who.
I love the who, by the way.
The band or the TV
Yeah,
show
dude.
Doctor Who?
Oh, see, okay. I never got into Doctor Who, but I do know about The Who. But I've heard the show is good.
Yeah, I've heard the show is good too.
Oh, you didn't see it?
No, my nieces and my sister, they love it. They're I guess they're called, whatever the fans of Doctor Who are, they're the big Who heads.
Oh, interesting. I only know about the TARDIS, which I think is the phone booth.
Yep. It's the blue phone booth.
Yeah, right. Which honestly really just makes me think about Harry Potter. So I don't know.
Harry Potter?
Yeah, there's a telephone booth in one of the movies where they go down into the magical world.
Yeah, it's the little red one, and it's
Yeah, right. I probably shouldn't go too far down that rabbit hole because I can feel myself slipping into some weird nerd universe where I start geeking out over the Potter. So
well, so I think that's a pretty good thing to say, right? Is we're both nerds. I'm okay with owning that.
Yeah, I don't give a shit.
Okay.
I'm proud of it. I've parted through a large portion of my life, and so I'm settling into this new space. Where I got my jammies on at 9:30, and I'm really good about that. You know what I mean? I got my feet kicked up. There's a chance I'm watching some variation of Law and Order, and I'm headed to bed. That's okay. I'm fine with it.
That's cool.
All right, so let's jump into the who. So I'm gonna start with the obvious question. So who are you? Give me broad. Yeah, that's broad. Okay, let me bring that back. If I wanted to know the core nuts and bolts about you in terms of where'd you grow up, what's your background in, and why are you in recovery?
Oh, okay. So I grew up in the tri-state region. So I'm a native Baltimorean. I was born in Towson, Maryland, and we lived all over the place. So like my parents were really nomadic. So, like I the first place that I have kind of a memory of is living in Elk Ridge. And then we lived in Baltimore City, which is like, I claim to be a native Baltimorean. I mean, like we were living on East Pratt Street. Like you don't get much more Baltimore than that. And, then my parents moved us to Hedgesville, West Virginia, to get an education. I guess we weren't getting an education, which was really great actually, because it gave me this perspective, right? Of like seeing um seeing what it was like in the city and then to see what it was like in rural America, right? And that's the first time I realized I really didn't fit, right? Um was when
Either
we what?
in either the city or the country?
No, I mean it was the first time I realized that I'm different.
Okay.
Yeah. Like I don't think it's a big secret, but I'm pretty tenderhearted. And I like being as open as possible. So that means, like I've learned not to wear my heart on my sleeve. And
Yeah.
also, like so I get along with everybody. I love people. I think I get along with everybody. I love people, I can tell you that much.
Yeah.
But it was the first time I realized like I was different than everybody else and that I'm gay. So, like when we were in Hedgesville, it was the first time that I understood that. I think it was the first time that people around me understood that too.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. I
So
mean, I
you were
remember
young.
yeah. Yeah, I was really young. Second grade, I think.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. And then we moved to Mercersburg, Pennsylvania, or St. Thomas, Pennsylvania, which is where I finished 8th through 12th grade. And I started drinking. I had my first drink when I was 7 at my cousin's wedding. And it was like the heavens opened up and the angels started singing, I mean that's my experience.
Yeah.
You
No, I get that.
Yeah, I know you do. And then, like by the time I was 12, I was seeking it. By the time I was 16, I was physically dependent. By the time I was 18, like I was already experiencing, DTs when I came off of it. Um, I joined the army between my junior and senior year in high school. And, I got kicked out because of my drinking. Like I'd like to say it was because of don't ask, don't tell, but the truth is that I was going through physical detox, and when I got a pass and AIT, I went drinking with some buddies, and I did what people do when they are in a blackout. Like I was out of control of myself. I was in a blackout, and I kissed some soldier's girlfriend. I know, I'm awesome.
Oh my God, I have never heard you tell that story.
No, it's like, well, that's my truth. You're like, boyfriend.
I kiss the soldier's girlfriend. Dude, that is an epic country song. Can you write that? Like that's
Dude, that's some sick shit right there.
yeah, that's like a new wave country song. I totally love that. Okay.
I kiss some soldier's girlfriend.
Yes, yes. All right, go.
Yeah. So that, like that was that was like the second major consequence. Like there were other big consequences, in my drinking, and like it all culminated by like the time I was 20, I was getting sober. Because I drank myself to the point that my body was rejecting it, and to me, like the way I received it then, the way I receive it now. Back then I received it like this was the worst thing in my life, right? And today I'm like, this is the best thing that ever happened to me. That was the universe doing for me what I could not do for myself. Like I do have, faith, and like I have faith that the universe will look out for me, right? And that, you get from life what you get from life, what you give to life, right? And I learned that in recovery,
Yeah.
so that's who I am, that's where I come from. And so the reason I do this, right, is because when I was 20, there was only one answer, you know, and and it worked. But what it didn't, like, it worked in that it got me sober, right? It helped me to survive early recovery. But what it didn't do was it didn't tell me about the truth about my disease, right? Like, I have addiction. I have substance use disorder, right? Um, and it did not tell me that when you have substance use disorder and you use drugs and alcohol the way that I use them, that it does stuff to your body and it does stuff to your brain. I mean, I gave myself alcohol poisoning at least 6 times, so like that's a lot of cognitive damage. That's a lot of
Yeah.
physical damage, that's a lot of nervous system damage, right? And had I known then the things that I know now, like maybe my life might have been a little bit gentler, and so like that's why I do what I do, is because I want other people to have, first, to know that recovery is possible, and second, to know like that there's more than one way to skin this cat, like you can get sober, you can experience recovery and life beyond your wildest dreams, in a way that does not force you to believe something that somebody else tells you to, that's really about you coming to, and you having a good journey, and you know experiencing, the benefits of what we now know to be true about the biological and the psychological and the social aspects of this disorder.
Yeah.
I want people to enjoy that, and like, who knows, maybe we'll even get a little bit better at the process.
Hell yeah. That's yes. Yes to all that. And thank you for saying that. I have to tell you, and I'm not bashful about telling you how I, feel about you. I have, first of all, I enjoyed your class tremendously, right? It's
You should
actually,
probably tell them what class that was.
oh yeah, so I'm sorry. Yeah, no, well, you tell them actually, because that's how this whole thing came to fruition. Tell them about the class.
Okay. So I'm a professional life coach. I've been a professional life coach for the last 25-ish years. And I started in finance. I also, I go deep into spirituality. And for the last 11 years, I've been focusing on recovery. And so what that means is I've worked in multiple treatment centers, in recovery community organizations, done a lot of community organizing, and just a lot of thinking about this, right? And so the class that you were attending is one of the classes that we teach that helps peers and recovery coaches to be able, peer recovery specialists, recovery coaches, to be able to learn the skills, the tools, the resources that they need to become really good at delivering recovery coach services and other recovery supports. So the class that you were taking was one of them. It was Recovery Coach Academy, CCAR's Recovery Coach Academy, which is the foundation for all the classes and trainings that come after that. And then we also were doing some stuff at Colmac.
We were doing some stuff with Colmac. That our interaction at the from that class brought us to Colmac. And well, we both worked there actually. Neither one of us really knew that. You do a lot of the education for third hours, and I started as a peer advocate, and now I am the coordinator for their alumni affairs. And so we teamed up and started doing third hour educations together in the form of a lecture series, which actually turned out to be pretty cool. So, I mean, honestly, I feel fairly blessed that out of COVID came some really cool things for me as an individual. feel very fortunate in that. You know, I had an opportunity to really just start digging in and learning about a lot of different things recovery related that I did not know about. I mean, much like you, I got sober in 12 step, you know, and you know, you've been sober longer for sure than I have. You've like over 20 years, yeah.
Yeah, I got sober August 10th, 1997. And you know, like I think it's really important to say like there are like I use the term sober, but I also say I'm in recovery.
Yeah, I do too. I do
Yeah.
the same. So I have abstained from all mood and mind altering substances since November 2012. So I consider myself in recovery, consider myself to be a sober person. Um,
So
all right,
same question. Let's turn this
same
around.
question.
Yeah, dude. Who are you? Where are you
Yeah.
from? Like, why are you doing
Well,
this?
all right. So the Who's, right? So
Who's?
my name is Amy DiPietro. I am 40 years old, 41 years old. God, let me not misspeak that. My family would never let me live that down. I'm one of, I have three brothers and a sister, and my brothers and my sister are without doubt like the greatest friends in my life. I love them so much. It's not always been like that. Don't get me wrong. I mean, when we were kids, we fought like cats and dogs, but you know, in our adulthood, they are my rocks for sure. I mean, so I just told you I got sober in 2012, right? And that is not the first time I've tried to get sober. But that last time trying to get sober, like my entire family, which we're Italian, so we tend to multiply when the lights go out. They all got together, dude. Like seriously. So I'm like, let me back up. First drink, middle school. Don't remember when. Alcohol has always been around my family. My parents are not alcoholics, but like their parents probably were. And so, but it wasn't a big deal for it being around the house. You know what I mean? That my parents drank socially and was no big deal. You know, we would like take sips of stuff when we were kids. And I actually always enjoyed the taste of it for whatever reason.
Really?
Yeah, dude, I did. Like, I remember the first time my grandmother, God love her, she'd have all her old Italian friends over on Friday nights to play cards. We'd be like the little bartenders, right? Like, we were like in 4th and 5th grade, and it was hilarious. It'd be like, she'd say, go make mama a Manhattan. I can't believe I'm sharing it. God love her, and she'd kill me if she knew. But so I knew, man. Like,
Wait, is she still alive?
she is still alive, but like
She might hear this.
She's not 100% in her right state of mind anymore. God forbid.
Okay.
You know. But so she would say, "Go make Mama a Manhattan," and I knew what to do. You know, and I had the shaker glass, and I put the rocks in, and it would be a shot of blend and a shot of sweet vermouth, and she liked it when I topped her off with a little cherry juice. You know, and then you walk back in and I took little nips off the top, you know, and like, I love that shit. That was like the first, I remember feeling that like euphoric feeling, you know, when you would have a little bit of that drink. But anyway, you know, first time I tried to get sober, I was 16 and it wasn't my choice. It was after a pretty big trauma that my family had suffered, and I was drinking to anesthetize, you know. I mean, so I'm a junior in high school, and I knew I had been drinking long enough to know that if I drank enough, I'd black out or pass out, right, and I'd go to bed. It was like the only way I could sleep. And I had no life skills at that time really to process emotionally like what my family as a unit was going through. It was a lot of grief and trying to figure out what grief meant. And, you know, I mean, God love my mom. She tried so hard to get us help. And I mean, we were in therapy and she was doing all the things. She was checking all the boxes to try to keep us safe. And, you know, my siblings went towards like, their faith and I went towards something totally different. And just, I was hardwired that way. And, you know,
it's
so I
funny
think
that like your family knew to take you to therapy. My family was like, who needs therapy?
right. Yeah.
I mean, I love my family. Like they're amazing.
Yeah.
I just spent like the Saturday with my nieces and my sister. You know, so like
absolutely. You don't know, right? I mean, and who knows? Like, I mean, I was even in therapy, but I knew what to say, right? Like, I knew what to say. I knew what
how did
they
you know
wanted
what to
to hear.
say?
You just don't know. I think I'm just inherently full of shit. I do. I really do. I think like, you know, you're just born with gifts. I think those were one of my gifts.
That was one of your gifts.
Yeah, like you know.
Oh my God, that's horrible, Amy. That's also very hilarious.
Either God or whatever you want to call it was like, okay, my child, like you know what I mean? Like, I will make you full of shit. I hope you use it for goodness. And I was unable to harness that at the ripe age of 16. So I did. I knew what they wanted me to say, and so I said what they wanted me to say. And
I got you.
I think I stayed abstinent like for 3 months, which when you're a senior in high school, I would like to say feels like an eternity. And I everybody that, you know, it was depression. I was just depressed. And I mean, I was cutting. This is like what, 1995? And I don't even know that they called it that. I knew that it was almost like I had been in so much pain, I was numb, and that was the only way I could feel anything.
I've heard a lot of people say that.
Yeah. So anyway, out the door I went, man. And over the years, I tried a lot of different times to quit different things on my own. Drugs are a huge part of my story. I mean, I went through phases of loving cocaine. It never loved me back. That was like some of the worst hangovers of my life. Some other drugs in there, but really in the end, what brought me to my knees were opiates, you know? And I was completely physically dependent, like you talked about in the end. So I probably had like 2.5 years at the end of just utter, complete physical addiction. Like by the time my feet hit the floor in the morning, if I didn't put something in me, I was pretty dope sick. And you know, the first time I experienced it, I thought I had the flu.
Ooh.
Yeah, I was like, well, you're so dumb. I was so dumb to it. Like I didn't, you know what I mean? I was so not thinking that was anything possible for me. Like I'm like, oh man, I must have caught the flu. You know, legitimate. I like called out of work, called my boss. I'm like, somehow I have the flu. And she's like, oh, okay, yeah, we'll stay home. I'm like, I'm gonna, you know? And so then it was like later that day, I realized, I'm like, oh, maybe this isn't the flu, you know? And so anyway, 2 days before Thanksgiving, my stepmom calls me. She's like, come to the house tonight. We want to decorate the Christmas tree early. Christmas in my family is like a big deal, right? Everybody comes over. There's a lot of food. Of course, that also happens on like Sundays. So sometimes it's hard to discern the difference between Sunday dinner and like, yeah, whatever.
Christmas.
So, yeah, right. So I'm like, of course I was pretty loaded when she called. So I was like, hell yeah, that sounds like great fun. So I show up and I walk in the house and there is no Christmas tree.
Oh, wait, were you walking into your intervention?
I was literally walking into my intervention.
Ooh, that was some tricky stuff right there.
It was shit, man. There's no Christmas tree, there's no ornaments, there's no tinsel, you know what I mean? I'm like, what the fuck? Like the room is filled with like both sets of my parents because they were divorced and remarried. All my siblings, a good handful of my friends, my siblings' spouses, and a woman I didn't know, and they had written letters. They had like an interventionist there,
Okay.
Yeah, I was so high. I was convinced that I was on the show. Like, I was like, where is the camera? And
Oh,
they're
you
like,
mean the intervention show, the one with Dr. Drew?
yes. They're like,
Oh.
there's no camera. Idiot, sit down. I'm like, okay. So, but yeah, man, it was either go get sober and we'll support you. We'll like have your back. We love you. We want you to be in our lives. Or you can choose to do what you're doing and we're out. Like, we're done. And so that was how this whole recovery thing started for me. And so I always, when I talk to people, I always discuss that part, because one thing I have really learned, and I believe so passionately about, is it doesn't matter what brings you into recovery. It doesn't matter whether you decide it one day, or jail decides it for you, or whatever. I don't think that matters. I think what matters is why you stay.
Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking that too.
Yeah, right. Like, to me, that's the difference between getting sober and staying sober. I did not want to get sober. I walked onto an airplane the next morning in complete withdrawal. I grabbed this flight attendant's arm as she started walking by, and I looked at her. I don't even know what she thought. And I looked at her and I was like, I need alcohol. And she was like, we haven't left the gate yet.
Wait, did the interventionist go with you?
No, God love her. My mom went with me. I'm 32 years old, and my mommy took me to rehab because she knew that if they just put me on a plane, that I would have probably rolled. And gone. And so she literally, like, my mom is like my hero, man. Like, she's the real MVP. And not just because of that. There's a whole host of reasons, but yeah, like, I literally grabbed that poor flight attendant. She probably thought, this chick. She said, she was like, we haven't left the gate yet. And I said, I'm going to rehab. Like, I had no shame left, nothing. She was like, I will be to you as soon as I possibly can. Like, I think she just felt so sorry for me. I was like, thank you. Thank you. And she did. God love her. I mean, she just kept floating me minis. We live in Maryland. Like, it was a fucking 2-hour flight. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't even like I was in the air that long, but she was doing the Lord's work that day. Good God. Because I was in some kind of bad shape. Yeah. And so, you know what? A lot of things happened between them. And much like you said, what started out as like the scary thing for me, and what felt awful and painful, and I literally wanted to die. Best thing that ever happened to me. Best thing that ever happened to me. I love being in recovery. I really do.
What's your favorite thing about being in recovery?
Helping other people.
Nice.
100%. Yeah. There's like a freedom in that shit. You know what I mean? Because it's not like you help other people because you have answers. I don't have any answers. I only have my own story, and my experience, and what has become a compassionate heart instead of a selfish one. And that I'm so grateful for that. What about you? What's your favorite part of recovery?
Probably helping people.
Yeah.
Well, helping people, and also like knowing that I'm never alone, even when I'm alone.
Yeah.
Like, because when I was, I mean, I'm thinking about this, like your story, like my last drink was at Hepburn's, the old Hepburn's in Baltimore City, because I'm a Baltimore City native.
Yeah.
Like, I went back, and like, my girlfriend didn't want to have anything to do with me. Like, it was 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock in the morning, and like, I'm sitting out on there on the curb and I'm bawling my eyes out, and like, I was tough as nails, like, I was really violent. I was bad. And
Yeah.
my family didn't want to have anything to do with me. My aunt and my cousins, after I got, started coming into the rooms, and, even the girl was like, 3 weeks into this whole not drinking thing, she's like, I'm leaving because you're still an asshole. You're a worse one.
Yeah.
He's like, plus you smoke too much now. I was like, oh, well, okay.
Yeah. Right.
And like that's not been my experience. Like I get to help people all day long. So that's just become like who I am. And then, like there's always somebody, you
Yeah.
know, and they're always like, we're on the same wavelength. Like I don't have to make myself anybody other than me.
Yes.
Plus my
Yes.
family likes me now.
Yeah, my family likes me now, right? Like I feel very fortunate for that. Uh it's crazy, man. It's crazy how like I'm sure it didn't feel fast in the moment, but it was a slow burn to get to that place over, I mean, if you're 16-ish to 33, 32 when I got sober. I mean, that's a long time to just be, it's funny, like I think about that. I was in early recovery, I think, man, like this disease, like this whole addiction thing, like it wants me dead. And that might be true, but you know what the worst thing I was afraid of was just living a long life like that.
Me too. There's nothing
Mm.
worse than that, because that is a slow suicide.
God.
And like I knew it was a slow suicide, and I was
Yeah,
powerless to stop it.
absolutely. Like I could have wake up with like the most resolve I could muster to maintain, like to not pick up that day, and without fail, just a few hours into the day, I'm a goner, and just rinse repeat like over and over and over again. And it's crazy. Like I labored under the misnomer that because I still had a job and I still had a house and I still had these like tangible things, that meant, I was not a slave to my addiction. I wasn't, that these were choices that I was making. I had no reality was like so far from me. Because the truth is, like, I had no defense. I had no tools to really be able to say, today, I'm going to be sober. There's empty words, you know?
Yeah, I totally get that. I was literally, as you're sitting here saying that, I was like, I had convinced myself that of that same thing. Now, the people around me, they were convinced I was going to die an alcoholic death, right?
Right.
So like, but I had a job. Now, I did lose my job because of my drinking, but then I quit drinking so I could get my job back. And then, like life happened and I didn't have any tools, so I went back to drinking. I went back to my boss and was like, I'm sorry I picked up.
Yeah.
Can I have my check? I'm done. I know this is the rules, right? So like all of those not yets had happened to me, like I had a nice little condo, and but I couldn't stop drinking when I wanted to, for long term. I, like I never knew where I was going to end up. I would sleep
Oh,
in the back of,
never.
right? I would sleep in the back of my truck for days because I forgot where I lived. Who does that?
We do. You know what I mean? Like, we do. I mean, I can remember, and I say these things not out of like pride. Like, it doesn't make me feel good to share those things. I say them because I have to remind myself that this was real. Like, I remember driving home. So, like, you're a Baltimore girl. I'm a DC girl. I love DC.
Mm.
And I can remember trying to like get home, having no business being behind the wheel of the car, and pulling over into various places to like sleep it off in the backseat of my Jeep. Like, just no idea where I was. how many times I like wake up and I'm like, how did I get home? No idea how I got home. I mean, just the amount of times that I put myself in really bad situations. And, I gotta say, sometimes I didn't come through them unscathed, right? Like that's for a different conversation. But it leaves its marks, right?
Yeah.
Leaves its marks. I mean, thank God when I first got sober, nobody told me that this was just the beginning. Right? Like, thank God. Like, because, I'm like, all right,
We're done.
30 days in, baby, I'm sailing. You know what I mean? Like, yes, I'm crushing this, and like, just you put one foot on the other. And like, some days and like those early days in particular, like, I swear to God, there are days where I literally was on all fours crawling through those 24 hours because I didn't want to pick up.
Totally.
I didn't know what to do. I didn't know where to go. And I did, what I mean? But like, there's literally, like, there were days where I would literally sit in a 12-step meeting hour after hour after hour, where I'd sit on my hands. Like that's the crazy in the beginning. And then, like I remember getting to like my first year and people be like, congratulations. And now the real work begins. And you want to be like, go fuck yourself. What's the last 365 days been? You know what I mean? Like, what do you mean the real work begins?
Oh yeah.
And it's true, man. Like this has been some of the most intensive work I've ever experienced in my life. Professional included. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy. I'm crazy. If I check my stuff, oh my God.
Oh my God, I totally get that. So one of the things I was thinking about as you were saying that is like, I was 20 when I got sober, right? I literally celebrated 6 months of sobriety on my 21st birthday.
Oh, dude. Like,
I know.
Like,
what?
that's amazing to me.
Well, that's the power of like people around me, because that was the difference in 97, right? Is like, there was this community. Like, there was such a tight-knit community. Nobody had to tell me like, you have to go do this, and they were just like, here's the door, go in.
Yeah.
And as soon as I walked in, like, all these people were like, we got you.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was incredible, right? Like the fellowship and the camaraderie, generally speaking, that you come across and become a part of in a 12-step community is amazing. It has been my experience. Grateful for that, 100%, for sure. I think you can stay in a good place for a while on fellowship, and then recovery, like most things, has to evolve.
That's right.
And I can honestly, go ahead. You go.
Well, and that's what I was getting ready to say, right? Is like, what I did not learn, which is why one of the reasons why I want to do this work, right? Why I am doing this work is because, like, at 21, like, I received a diagnosis that was untrue, but had we known back then, like, had the people around me known that like there was a physical component to this, to alcoholism and to substance use disorder, that wasn't just about like, stop putting the stuff in your face,
right,
and up your nose and all that stuff. Like, if they had been like, hey, listen, you might want to go to the doctor because you're experiencing DTs. You have post-acute withdrawal syndrome. If they had said those things, my life might have been very different. But here's the cool thing, right? Is like, I don't regret any of it because I love my life.
100% agree with you.
Yeah. And, and at the same time, like, there was suffering that happened in my recovery that never had to happen.
Yeah.
So like, I had like this misperception that I had this mental, thing going on that I didn't have going on, and there's nothing wrong if that's your story. I mean, it is part of my story now, and And there was, had I learned, like post-acute withdrawal syndrome is a real thing,
Yeah.
and there's all these things that you can do that people can help you to do, like I might not have suffered as long as I did.
No, I agree. And I think like the education of things like that allow people to elevate, and it allows people to, to me, for me, when I got sober, I said, I had a million questions, right? And most of them were about why and how, right? Almost kind of like existential questions. Like there's really no answer for these things,
I
but
think they're
like
common for everybody who comes into recovery.
it has
Like,
to be
why
like,
me?
why me? How did I get here? What did I do wrong? It's like this quest that you like are instantly thrust into to figure out like what the f actually happened.
Girl, you've said that so many times. It's okay.
I
But
know. I don't even know why
like,
I paused there, but
so let me ask you this. So at the end of my quest, I got to, well, maybe you better ask a different question. Like maybe the question isn't why me, it's why not me.
yeah, I mean, I don't know that I've even had that experience just yet. I think what I eventually arrived at was if I like opened door A or took the blue pill and all of a sudden all these questions get answered, does it fucking change where I'm at today? No, it doesn't change any of that. I'm an addict. I am an addict and an alcoholic to my core. I can get lost in buying tennis shoes. I would be embarrassed to tell you how many pairs of Nike Air Maxes I own. I would be embarrassed to tell you how many watches I own and how much money I've spent on all of this. It's very superfluous, but it's the truth. Like I can get wrapped around anything. Gambling, food, sex, it doesn't matter. And so I have to, if I want to not be like an addict, acting like an addict, I have to be vigilant about all of these things. And that some days feels very exhausting, admittedly. But most days, I'm grateful for the clarity. Most days, I'm grateful to know that about myself because then I have a chance.
I totally get that. The moment I realized that the things that were wrong with me, like, I mean, I was, given a diagnosis and told you're going to be on medication for the rest of your life, period, end of story.
Right.
Until my body started rejecting it, and they were like, and you need to keep doing those ANA meetings, and you need to like do cognitive behavioral therapy and everything's going to be fine. And like 12 years sober, like I'm doing all these things. I had built a beautiful life for myself that I really loved. I was deeply engaged in, like it was everything I wanted, and then like I lose it all because the medication started backfiring, like, and I'm asking myself these questions like, well, why do I want to die every day? And why am I so angry? And it was like, at the bottom of my, for me, it was one of those things at the bottom of my questions. It was like, well, because you got sidetracked, and when the moment I realized I'm just a garden variety alcoholic, like there was freedom in that. Just like you said, freedom.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's the crazy part of it, right? Like I spent so much time looking for something to fill it all up. Drugs, alcohol, relationships, sex, the next thrill, the next thrill, the next thrill. And you said it earlier about being embraced by other people in recovery. The funny thing is in active addiction, I can be in the middle of a room filled with people and never felt more alone in my life. Right. Or in recovery, I can stand on my own 2 feet finally and feel completely at peace alone. Right? Like I get to choose that today. Like I can have some downtime, or I can go kick it with whoever, like that is an amazing choice to have today. That's a much better choice than having to say, do I drink a bottle of Doers today, or do I try to go cop a bunch of pills?
Totally get it.
Something else. I don't know.
When you said that, one of the things that made me think is like, and here, like, this is one of the things about substance use disorder, right? Addiction for me, right? Is, like we get to have this beautiful life, right? Like I've had this dog. He's a trained psych dog. He was my psych dog for a while. Like
Sweet. She's talking about Sweet Travis.
Oh yeah, I'm talking about Sweet Travis.
He's so cute.
He is cute. He's the best. And, like, he's nearing the end of his life. And, like, we're having, life and death conversations. And, like, the thought came to me this morning, like, I mean, we're in the middle of COVID. I'm like, oh, I'd like a hug, but the more important thing is, the thought came to me this morning is like, like the reason I'm having such a hard time with this is because he's my companion.
Yeah.
Also, like, if he's gone, then who is going to be there? So it was the first time in ages that I had experienced that feeling that you talk about, like I'm all by myself. But there was that moment, sobriety gives me this. Like there was that moment of being able to say like, oh yeah, that is what that feels like. And there is this grief there. And, but he's been here this whole time and I'm not alone. I could just pick up the phone.
Correct. Yeah, a friend of mine, I guess I've known her about, I don't know, let's call it 5 years now, maybe something like that. And, she's a therapist, she's a brilliant mind, like a brilliant mind. And one of the things she said to me a long time ago was, and I'm quite sure I've probably heard it a million times before, but you know how some days somebody says something to you and it just like sticks. She said, if addiction is to isolation, like that's basically the same thing, and for her it is, then, community and connectivity is to recovery.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know what it was that day that she said that. And I just was like, yes, because isolation and like being alone are two completely different things for me, and I have to be careful with that because I'm actually like, I'm an extrovert. I derive energy from being around other people. I love being around other people, man. Like I love that stuff. But there are times where I'm like, okay, need to like chill out a little bit, and have a day where I'm just doing me. I have to be careful because if that turns into like a couple of days, and in recovery, it has done that to me. I've gone just to this place where I'm like, ooh, are you being weird and you're isolating and like it snuck up on you a little bit? And like that, I gotta watch out for that because that's like a thing for me.
Thanks for being honest about that.
Yeah, that's like a weird thing for me.
That's like legit too. I mean, that's what people go through, which is one of the reasons why we're doing this podcast.
Yes. So, okay, I have an idea. Ready? Let's run through, not like quickly, right? But what's
your favorite ice cream topping?
Oh, you want to go for that right now?
Okay. Wait, what were you going to say?
What I was going to say was like, let's rock out the what and the when and the where.
Okay.
And then we'll do some fun stuff. And then we'll quickly say like how to reach us. Because we want to hear from people like big time.
Oh my God. Yeah. Like that's the cool thing, right? Is like everything we've said is because we want you to engage with us.
Yes. We want emails. We want phone calls. We want text messages. Social media interaction. Like I want to know, I want to get to know people. Like I want to know what's going on and how's your day and like how's your recovery, do you want to be in recovery, whatever, all of it, any of it.
Yeah, I'm down for that. You know, like, and that's, I mean, that's the other piece, right? Is like we're sharing parts of our story
Yes.
because not because we want to like make ourselves into something, but because we want you to know, like, we're you,
Yes.
you know, like,
You're us, unfortunately.
exactly. And like the stuff that you guys might tell us and that we might have conversations with ourselves about and what we might have conversations with our guests about, like that helps us to stay sober too, and it helps us to get better and stronger and healthier.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing we're down for.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, then okay, so what the podcast about? I mean, really, what the podcast is about recovery, how to get to it, how to stay in it, what our resources are available to you. I am blown on a daily basis how many resources are out there. I feel like my eyes have been opened. I had somewhat of a narrow view of just because of experience of what resources were available, and Johanna has helped me see it's so many amazing gifts that are out there for us.
Oh yeah, I'm down for that. And you know, like, I mean, we've already done, so here's the thing, right? Is we've committed to each other and now we're committing to you. And we've committed to every guest that we've had so far. That we're doing 2 seasons of this show, the Recovery Capital podcast, 2 seasons of it, 30 episodes a season. So, like, literally, we are saying we're going to do 60 shows around Recovery Capital, right? Like, what it is, some of the intricacies of it, you know. And so like we've had people on here like the Stacy Charpentier from CCAR, right? And we've had people like Christina Gunner, you know, who's a fabulous counselor, right? And we've had people on here like T. Scott, you know, from the Maryland Peer Advisory Council, and you know Bobby Coffey, like talking to us about stuff like person-centered language and why we really need to be mindful about what we call ourselves, right? And then we've just had some old school, you know, 12-step people. We've had Wally P and Britt S, you know, and we've even reached out to Dr. John Dombrowski, who is a pain doctor at the Washington Pain Center, and he is the incoming president of the Maryland ASAM.
Also
So
included DC, yeah.
yeah, so
DC and
like,
Maryland together.
oh yeah, DC and Maryland together.
Yeah.
Thank you for
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, no, and the list is growing, right? I mean, we want to get not just in the DMV area, but all the way across the country and across the pond too. You know, I mean, and everybody has been so willing to discuss their portion of what they're doing. You know, and our hope is that by sharing information and by talking about things, you know, maybe we're doing our part to help normalize the narrative around addiction. And because still to this day, you know, bullshit after all these decades, that there's still so much stigma around addiction, you know, and misnomers. I can't even believe in this day and age what is still out there that's completely off base about what addiction and recovery is about.
Yeah.
And we need to help change that. So
Oh yeah. Well, and I think too, like, so while we're on that, like, if you are like us and you have addiction, right, and you are struggling with substance use disorder, like, first know you're not alone, you know, and that the second thing is that recovery is possible, you know, and all you have to do is reach out. And the other piece of that is like there's lots of ways that people enter recovery and there's lots of ways that people stay on the path of recovery. So if you've tried stuff and it hasn't worked, don't give up.
right. If you've tried 12 step and it didn't work for you, it didn't resonate with you, that's okay. You don't have to get sober in 12 step. You can do other things. And there's a lot of other things that are options for you. And we want to do whatever we can to help draw attention to those things. And therefore, we're going to have guests on our show that are in those fields and can talk about that. From smart recovery, people from, alternate forms of community support, people that, embrace cognitive behavioral therapies. There's a lot out there, and there's a huge emphasis on what's going on in the peer movement. And so we want to highlight that.
Yeah.
So
So the other piece is we're going to highlight the insurance piece, right? Because we know,
yes,
I mean, like, here's the deal. I got sober in 97. Treatment was not an option for me. Treatment was not an option for me because I was uninsured. At that point, because of my addiction, I was uninsurable, and it was not available, right? And like, I didn't have money, my parents they were not dealing with me, right? They didn't have money, so treatment was not possible, and when Amy got sober, like, treatment was possible, right? And so and now treatment is possible, and there's a continuum of care that's possible, and all of those things require that somebody somewhere has an understanding of how to pay for these. So we're going to talk about that too.
who do we hope to reach?
Oh, we hope to reach the recovery support team, right? And when we say recovery care team, what we're really saying is we want to talk to all the people that support us, right? So we want to talk to the peers and the recovery coaches and the doctors. And because we know that people who treat us, right, people who work with us, people who are in recovery and people seeking recovery happen to be in recovery themselves, we believe that there is something here for the recovery care team, but there's also something here for people in and seeking recovery and their family members. We also have potty mouths, so we hope to attract those people as well.
Yeah, I'm really sorry about that. I'm trying desperately to lower that. My mom's like, Mom is so sweet. She's so different than I am. She's this delicate, virtuous woman. She went to modeling school when she was little. She's very much a lady. I'm so, yeah. Well, no, I mean,
You have your moments.
Yeah, I can pretend, but mostly I have I talk to a trucker, and I'm really sorry for that in advance. Trying to dial it back. So where can people listen and watch?
Oh, so this is a great question, right? So people can listen and watch on Spotify and Apple iTunes and the YouTube. So we got this YouTube channel called Recovery Capital. The show is Recovery Capital.
Trying to keep it simple, guys. Trying to keep it simple. And when are we launching?
We're launching today. So today means May 20th. Today is a Thursday. So as soon as we finish recording this, we're going to edit it and stick it. And by edit, I just mean put a picture on the front and a picture on the back. And then, and then we're going to launch this bad boy. And we will have a show ready every Thursday by 5 a.m. So you can listen to this on your way to work.
You can listen to it on your way to work or while you're at the gym, however you like to listen to your podcasts.
While taking a bubble bath.
Occasionally, you might want to watch on YouTube because you'll never know what color polo I have decided to wear for that. I'm going with a royal blue. You can't really tell in this light, but I like to think in natural light, it helps set off these hazel eyes that I've got on here. Huh? Yes.
Yes. You got to make sure everybody knows you're cute.
Yeah, I mean, these little chubby cheeks, how could you not? Look at that. What's going on? All right, so let's do some fun speed dating questions, super fast, because I'm sure by now we've overstayed our welcome.
Okay.
All right. I'm firing one at you. Pet peeve, biggest pet peeve. Tell me.
Oh God, when people are when they show up at my house without letting me know they're coming. I mean, I could be naked.
I mean, why wouldn't you be on any given day? You know what I mean? Like, hello. I choose to vacuum naked most afternoons. Just enough.
I don't know why that just struck me as hilarious.
Well, it should. You know what I mean? Because I'm shaped like a candy apple. You know what I mean? Like that apple shape up top on these like stick-like legs. So the idea of that is rather funny.
Oh my God.
So wait. So people just show. These are people you know that you don't know.
People that I don't know. I mean, if you know me, like, well, you can wait in the living room while I put some clothes on.
Okay, fair. All right. My biggest peeve, without a doubt, is when shoppers don't return their carts. So the cart returns.
Oh, Chris is here, and she was just like, oh.
Yes, thank you, Chris. That man, I literally had to go pick up a prescription yesterday at Giant, and I literally almost rolled down the window to get this woman until I realized she was getting into a handicapped car because she literally just left the cart, and I rolled the window down to lean my head out to be like, put the cart back, and then I realized like she was not in the best of health, so I stopped myself from acting like a jerk, but man, that pisses me off.
That's an anger issue right there.
A little bit, yeah. What can I say?
This is more than a pet peeve. That's a like, I'm gonna chop your legs off.
Yeah, man. Well, come on. God.
That's awesome.
All right,
Okay,
you pick one.
if you could have a superpower, what would it be?
I would fly
Where would you go?
anywhere.
That's not good enough.
If I could just like jump in the air and fly, you know what I do? Maybe I would like, I might fly past my ex-girlfriend's house and like circle around and the window and just give her some double birds and then I'd fly back.
Oh my God, that's horrible. I'm telling you have anger issues.
Is that aggression? That felt aggressive. I don't know.
Is that aggressive? Yes, that's aggressive. How do you think she would feel when she hears this?
Wow.
Wait, Amy wants to give me the double birds, fly over to my house and flip me off? What? That's what you would waste your superpower on?
No, I mean, that's just maybe one of the first things I do. I mean, other than that, I guess I'd probably.
Dude, that's awesome.
I think I'd probably head to the beach. You know, I would like out of the country and head to the beach. Like a book and the beach, and I'm golden.
I dig it.
Yeah. What about you? What would you do? First of all, what would the superpower be, and what would you do?
I'd like to say shoot lasers out of my eyes. However, I know that that is destructive, but it could be fun.
It could be fun.
I like blowing things up, but it would really be flying, and then I would go all over the world. I would see the pyramids of Giza. Is that where you say it? The pyramids of Giza. I would see the Eiffel Tower. It could backfire on me though, because I have this thing about heights. But I think if I was in control of it, it wouldn't be so bad.
God, I didn't even consider that. I'm not a huge fan of heights either. Okay,
but if you're in control of it, I mean, what was it Langston Hughes said? The bird never fears the breaking of the bough because he can fly.
Oh.
I know I messed that all up, but you know.
I don't know about that.
This is like how deep.
Well, listen, if I have to have a backup plan, it would be like the superhuman strength.
Oh, that would be cool.
Yeah. If I wig out with the ability to fly, I would just settle for superhuman strength.
Okay.
All right. Living or dead, who would you want to see live in concert?
Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Ooh. That's a good answer.
This house is a rockin', don't come a knockin'.
Yeah. Dude, he is like arguably one of the top 5 best guitar players ever.
Yeah.
100%.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah.
How about you?
I got a long list, man. Like, so honestly, I would have loved to have seen Bob Marley live.
Ooh.
Yeah, I would have loved to have seen Bob live. I would have loved to have seen Big Smalls live, if I'm being truly honest.
Who?
Biggie, the Notorious
Oh,
B.I.G.
yes. Yes.
Oh,
I thought you
God.
said something else. I was like, who?
No, that would have been. I would have totally seen Elvis, man. I would have
I
totally
don't know.
seen.
I would see Elvis.
Yeah, back
You
in
know
his
who I would
heyday?
like to meet? I
Huh.
want to meet Steven Tyler.
Yeah, okay. I'm not like I like Aerosmith. I'm not like a huge Aerosmith fan. I've seen a lot of people in concert. Like I miss live music so desperately, like so bad. One of the few people left that I haven't seen that I would like love to see, and I would probably pay a really stupid amount of money is Pink.
Oh yeah,
She's a badass.
she is. Plus,
Such a
she's
badass.
hot.
Oh, she's smoking hot. And she's been married to what's his name? Good on him. Like that's amazing. I don't
Wait,
remember his
who
name.
is she married to?
I don't know. I don't remember. He's a musician as well. I think he's a musician. Now I may have fucked that up. I'm not 100%. But they've been married a long time. I feel like she's a killer mom, and she's such a rocking like singer. Like she's so good. I think she'd be so cool to see live.
Yeah, I think you're right about that.
Yeah.
You know who was cool to see live? It's Katy Perry.
I bet she did good. I saw Lady Gaga live, and that was so good.
I saw her at Verizon Center when she
Yeah,
first
me
got
too,
started,
dude.
like 5 rows back from the front row. I'm like, this is amazing. It was the best thing ever.
I saw Garth Brooks twice in concert.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and he is, even if you don't like his music, he's an amazing performer. His energy level is like insane good. And
I saw Fish not last summer. Clearly it was COVID, but
are you a Fish fan?
No, but like it was great. I was like, wait, why am I getting these tickets?
Yeah, they're like OG jam bands. Like
They're amazing.
Kind of like on the Dead level, honestly.
Well, they toured with the Dead, didn't they?
Yeah.
I was very, very happy I went.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. Like, I've been to some concerts where I just went to go, and I wasn't necessarily I didn't think I'd be into it, but they end up being such good performers. Like my stepmom asked me to go with her. A couple of us went to see Michael Bublé, and I was like, oh God, I can't believe I'm doing this, right? He's actually really good live. Oh. He's really good live. I was so blown away. It was very impressive. Yeah. It was really, it was cool. In terms of like a jam band, I know a lot of people, I don't know if a lot of people like his music anymore still or not, but I love Dave Matthews Band.
You know what's weird is like, I never got into him, but a lot of people
I hear so many people say that. I feel like even if you don't particularly care for his music, his band is exceptionally talented. The dude that plays violin and his drummer are just so amazing. They're just amazing. And honestly, his lyrics, like he writes a lot of his lyrics. He's very much a poet. If you were to not even listen to the music, but just read the lyrics, you're like, whoa.
Oh, yeah. I'm gonna have to give him a second thought.
Yeah.
Do you know Blues Traveler?
Oh, yeah.
Dude, I saw them at Ram's Head in Annapolis.
Yeah. Yeah, they're good. I've seen them.
And Rusted Root, too.
Rusted Root is good. I've seen them. They're great. I used to do a lot of festivals. It's like the best way to see so many bands at one time or performers at one time.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Memphis in the day, man. Whew.
Oh man. I haven't seen
remember the old Lilith fairs?
Oh my God, yeah, that's hilarious.
Oh.
I do. Yeah, I do.
Oh, wait. If you could come back in your next life as an animal, what animal would it be?
A shark.
A what?
A shark.
Because everybody runs away from you?
No, they're like my favorite animal. Shark Week is like my jam. Every year, that week in the summer, I'm right there. Shark Weekend on the Discovery Channel.
Well, that's a new thing I learned.
Yeah, I love sharks. They're fascinating.
Now you're gonna get
Did
shark
you know?
stuff all the time.
Did you know that sharks, the male sharks, have like 2 penises?
That would be helpful.
It's fascinating, my friends. Fascinating to see it.
I'm not sure I would want to look at the shark penis.
Well, yeah, all right. So I may have devolved too much information there. I have like some weird fucking fetish. All I'm saying is that it's fascinating to me that that's it's fucking weird.
You know, when now I'm gonna be like sending you videos for like baby shark.
Oh God, no, don't do it. Okay, wait. So what animal?
Me? Oh, I'd come back as an otter.
An otter. Why
I
an
would
otter?
make a good otter.
The loud noise?
No, because they're playful and they're full of energy and they're like playing in the water and they play, you know, they have lots of friends, you know, and they're cute as shit.
Yeah, no, they are super cute. I guess it's interesting both of us chose animals that exist in water. I love the water.
Me too.
Like I would rather
I don't like it in my ears though.
Yeah, perfect night or day is spent on a boat and on the water, dude.
Totally get that.
What's the last thing you do at night?
Turn out the light.
Okay, fair.
No, the last thing I do at night is the last like legit productive thing I do at night. Ugh. I sound like such a nerd because I am a nerd, but also it works for me. Is I write in my journal. I do my 11th step stuff, my 10th step stuff.
Do you really? Oh,
yeah, I write in my journal and then I take a picture and then I send it to my sharing partner, Pat.
Mm.
And then I putz around until I'm ready to go to bed.
That's impressive.
It saved my life. I mean, like literally we've been doing this now. So today's the 20th. Yesterday was three years. We've been doing this for 3 years and I am a different person.
Damn.
I'm so much calmer and much more present. And I'm able to like enjoy joy.
I gotta get where you're at. I'm over here yelling at handicapped people in the parking lot.
Flicking your ex-girlfriend off.
Oh man. All right. Yeah.
You know, that one's gonna be like a hard time.
That's fair.
Do you believe in any conspiracy theories?
I don't think so. You know what? It's interesting. I read that question. That's an interesting question because I definitely think there's some out there like that. You know what I mean? Like, you know, there's so many conspiracy theories about like who shot Kennedy and, you know, where COVID came from and did the United States know about a terror attack on 9/11? Like, there's so many things out there. I've like kind of assigned myself to the fact that while I'm sure to some level things do exist, I'm okay not knowing about it.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I'm okay.
Actually, most of the time when people were like, that's a conspiracy, like they started going down the path of conspiracy, I'm like, do we have any facts on that?
Yeah.
And then I'm like, see ya. This sounds like a good conversation I don't want to be in.
Yeah, no, I gotta see my way out. I can't get wrapped around that. Rather not know.
Yeah. It's okay if other people have those beliefs. I just don't want to be involved in that.
No judgment. It's just not. I'd prefer.
It's kind of like the shark penises.
Right, there you go. You don't want to know about the shark penises.
Oh wait. What's the most unusual place you've fallen asleep?
Oh. Does that include blacking out?
Yeah, we can go with that one.
So cars, concerts, parking lots, bathrooms and bars. movie theaters, people's houses.
You have narcolepsy?
No. Just a straight up blackout drinker.
Shoot.
Straight up. Yeah, I don't know. A lot of places. I've like passed out a lot of places. Not a point of pride, just reality.
Totally get it. Totally get it.
Oh, here's one. Would you rather be covered in fur or in scales?
Fur.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah.
All right. Last question. Serious
Last
question.
one.
Serious question.
Lay it on me.
At the end of the day, what do you hope comes from this work?
At the end of the day, what I hope comes from this work is more tolerance and a much greater understanding of what people suffer through. And lastly, more of a desire from individuals who may not necessarily be involved in recovery to want to pick up the baton and help.
Yeah, I like that. That's good stuff.
What about you?
So for me, it is, I want people to be able to enjoy their lives, like not live in fear that they're going to, that they can't get better. I want people to understand that if this is as bad as it gets, that's okay. You can, people are resilient, and the worst thing that happens to you, the worst thing that you've done is not who you are, that you can come back from anything.
Yeah.
You can always upgrade your recovery.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I like that. That's a good thing to hope for.
Yeah.
Good last question.
I think so.
Well, thanks, dude. Thanks for doing this today.
Hell yeah.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys for being here, and hopefully we're going to be seeing a lot more of each other and getting to know both ways and sharing some good information, and I'm super pumped to get started on all this.
Oh my God, yeah. Thank you very, very much for coming on the journey with us. It is already fun, and I can't wait to see where we go from here. Thank you, Amy, for doing this with me. I am so grateful. I couldn't have chosen a better wingman. Actually, maybe you chose me as the wingman. I'm not sure.
We don't know. We don't really remember. It was all a blur, but we are definitely in this thing together. 100%.
Right on. All right, guys. Have a great one, and we'll see you next Thursday.
Take care, guys.